My name's Di Westaway, and we have 520 teams and 320 people doing the 100K. So of the 520 teams, which the maths clever people would have worked out is over 2,000 trekkers, 320 of you have taken on the big challenge of the 100, and the rest of you have taken on the almost as big challenge of the 50-day or the 50 nights. So well done for taking on that challenge. Our job is to help you be successful and, as you'd know from some of our emails, have more fun. The other reason that we're here is, of course, to support the extraordinary work of the Fred Hollows Foundation. That will restore sight, or the equivalent of restoring sight, to nearly 70,000 people. So I'm going to let you think about that, because it's the most amazing thought. Pretty much the Olympic Stadium full. By the time you guys have finished walking and all of your wonderful sponsors have supported your pain and suffering, that's $25 per person to restore sight in a developing nation, and nearly the full Olympic Stadium of people whose lives will be completely transformed because they'll have their sight restored. So thank you already for what you've done, and in advance for what you're about to do. And just know that our entire team here, we've all got shirts with Wild Women on top on them. We're all here to help you. Certain ones amongst us are experts in certain areas, and we will at the very end have questions if we haven't answered your questions already. Wild Women on Top is an organisation that specialises in trek training for adventure. Well done, gentlemen, for being here. You are now in the minority, not because we don't love you, it's just because we, as Wild Women on Top, are very keen on getting women fit and getting women trekking. And some of you have seen the beautiful Jilly on the way in. Jilly is our customer service representative, and if you have any interest in getting fit and doing more walking, Wild Women on Top can help you and take you amazing places like Bhutan and Machu Picchu and Mount Kilimanjaro. As soon as Coastrek's over, we're pretty excited about sharing another goal with you if you're interested. So please see Julie on the way out. And also, if you need some swimmable undies for your Coastrek, if it might be hot, we've got some swimmable undies that you can win on the way out from Underwear of Sweden. And also, if you'd like to win some free training with us, have a little chat to Julie on the way out. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce a very important guest. Our next guest is Ruth Hollows. We're very privileged to have Ruth here. Ruth is the daughter of Fred Hollows and Gabby, and you all know a little bit about the work of the Hollows Foundation, who have a goal of ending avoidable blindness by 2020. Ruth has done Coastrek twice, and she's backed up for a third time, so would you please make her feel very welcome? Thank you, Ruth.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to say on behalf of my family and the foundation and all these lovely ladies who run the show, thank you so much for signing yourself up to it. Some of you will be really looking forward to it. Some of you will be like, why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? But it's so worth it at the end to say, yes, I've done it. It's this amazing thing that you can say, tick it off your bucket list or whatever. I also want to thank these ladies again just for doing such an amazing job. They've created such an amazing event. Like last year, I think they raised $1.1 million last year, and it was just absolutely amazing. Like the whole foundation was just flabbergasted at the amount that these guys created, but you guys and all your friends and your family gave. It was so amazing. One of the reasons why this Coastrek thing is really fun and why lots of people in my family and lots of you guys do it, it's really great because Fred was always a massive adventurer, and ever since like a young age, all of us children were chucked out into the bush and put in the red dirt before we were even 1 month old. And that's something that, even though Fred passed away when I was just a little kid, our godparents and my mother and everyone's made sure that we've been off and we've been adventuring and doing all those kinds of things. So when I do something like this, it reminds me of, like, even though I can't be like Fred, like a doctor, and save people with my own hands, it's something I can do, and I can get my friends to donate the money, and it's something that I can say, I've physically done this, and it helps the goal of ending avoidable blindness, and it's just a good way to connect to Fred. So everyone here who's doing this walk is connecting to Fred in some way. I just wanted to also say this event, it's such a good team event. Everybody who's been everybody who's working with the Wild Women on Top and with the Fred Hollows Foundation, they all are part of the Fred Hollows team, as well as the doctors, as the surgeons, as the people working in the factories, and everything everyone here is doing it's all part of the goal, and everyone's part of it. And I just want to say good luck to everybody. You'll go through the blisters, through the aches and the pains and the midnight crying at like 12 o'clock the night before going, why? But it's really fun, like I said. I'm doing it for a third time, and it's, as much as I joke, it's like, why am I here? It is a pretty good event, and like, it's something you can say later on in life, say, yeah, I've done this 50k trek. So good luck, everyone, and have an amazing walk, and I'll see some of you on the night 50 when I'm doing it.
Last year, I escaped from the office for a few hours in the middle of Coastrek and had the privilege of walking with the most extraordinary team. The team was 4 blind trekkers and their 4 sighted guides. And the inspiration and brains behind collecting 4 blind trekkers who wanted to break, and I believe did break, a world record. They were the first ever 4 blind trekkers to walk 50 kilometres, was Ben Phillips. And Ben is an extraordinary young man who is also an athlete that works with the Achilles Running Club and plays blind cricket. So I'd like you to put your hands together for Ben. He's come here to talk to us. Ben, I'm just going to give you a microphone. Beautiful. So I'm going to ask Ben a couple of questions, but before I do, Ben, I believe that you were given a Pride of Australia Award for Courage in 2011. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I was given this award. I wasn't really expecting it, but I guess it was awarded for many different things I've done. People view it as being very courageous playing rugby league when I was young. That was a real challenge. I couldn't really see the other team, and on one occasion I tackled the referee. And just through life, being able to overcome many different obstacles and I guess approach life with a lot of courage.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, when I walked with Ben for a very short time through the night, hands up who did Coastrek last year in that lovely weather. Put your hands up high. You guys are legends. That's now known as the wet one that year, the wet one. So Ben was in the middle of the wet one with his team of 8, not just 4 but 8. And I was walking with them as they came around past Collins Beach. And there's a little rampy road. Does everybody know that road that slides down to the beach? They ran down that road in the dark, in the rain, after they'd already walked 30 kilometres, cheering. They were so excited. But unfortunately, when they got to the bottom, there was a lot more mud, and there was also little cliffy bits and little rocky stairs. Some of you might know the little section I'm talking about. At one point, I actually watched Ben. He probably doesn't remember, but Ben actually fell down some stairs. He smashed his head on a rock and then tumbled down, and he just jumped up and kept walking. And I can remember thinking, this is actually like torturing people. I felt quite awkward and uncomfortable and almost a bit nauseous that we were encouraging this. But they continued and they finished the event. Ben, how did it feel when you finished and crossed that finishing line 18 hours and 10 minutes later?
Yeah, that was incredible. Nothing you could have ever expected that you would ever achieve. For us, you can imagine what it's like to wake up one day and you can't see anything, and you imagine how on earth are you going to work out what clothes you're going to get out of the cupboard, or how you're going to make your breakfast. And just little things like that, getting to work, would just be like an enormous daunting task. And then for us to go out into the wilderness, into the bush, along the coastline, places we just had never been to before, we didn't know what to expect, and to take that on and conquer it, that was just the most amazing feeling. I can barely describe it.
I think there was some tears actually. We all had a little cry when you guys crossed the finish line. It was amazing. Can you tell us, you're coming back for more, for those of you who are wondering, Ben is back to do Coastrek again. He's doing the 100 this time. So if any of you are feeling sad and sorry for yourselves if you're doing the 50, guess what? Get a real problem, because Ben's doing the 100 and he's guided by Senator John Faulkner, who is an extraordinary extraordinary man and an amazing guide. And I just want to ask Ben, though, what is the main thing about success on Coastrek, do you think? What do you think really is a key factor in your success?
Well, we've found a few things. Preparation is a big thing. We've gone out and practiced all the different parts of the course, and just working out different times of where you want to be able to stop and have a break, what sort of gear you're going to need. So the preparation is absolutely crucial. I think also your fitness is a big part of it, both physically and mentally. Mentally is a huge part. You know, your body will just tell you, hey, I want to stop, but your mind, you just got to override that and keep going. And the other thing is the communication that your team must have. That's just so important. We couldn't have done it without communicating with each other, all 8 of us, the 4 guides and 4 blind walkers that did it, because you know, the guide needs to talk to me and say, okay, Ben, we're going to step over a rock now. You need to come a bit to the right, and lift your foot, you know, 10 centimetres high, and give me all these instructions all along the way. And I've got to process that and think about it. And when you're so tired after walking for 18 hours, you just, sometimes when he tells me to go to the left, I go to the right instead, and it can be a bit tricky. But yeah, definitely your communication, letting your teammates know when you're doing it a bit tough, or hey, I feel like grabbing a bite to eat, or you know, can you give me a bit of encouragement? Communicating with your team is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you still have all your toenails after you finished?
I couldn't really see, so but I could definitely feel the pain. It was really sore, and yeah, I think that was one of the good things too, because we couldn't really see what was ahead. And I guess our guides could see some enormous big hill ahead of us, but we didn't know, so we just took it. When we arrived there, we thought, okay, we've got to get over this hill. And you just take it step by step. But for me, this is a really important sort of walk to do, an event. Fred Hollows was my doctor when I was a baby, and so I've got that special connection there with this event. And you know, I never had the chance to really thank him. He passed away before I had that chance, so this is a way of me being able to come back and repay him. And I just sort of think about the challenges that other people out in these disadvantaged communities have. You know, we've got it pretty good. If you're blind and you live in Sydney or anywhere in Australia, most of the capital cities, you've got buses and lots of support services and stuff. But if you live in a country overseas where you know, you might be living in poverty and you're needlessly blind, all it takes is $25 to fix it. Yeah. In that community, sometimes you're nobody. You're at the bottom of society, you can't work, nobody values you. So for every cent that you raise, I thought, you know, this was a huge challenge for me to get through it, but the challenges that these other people face is so much more. Yeah. So when you feel you're doing it tough during the walk, just think, you know, how much tougher is it for them, and every little step you take makes a big difference to them. Yeah.
Ben, thank you so much for coming along and sharing that with us. And just before I say goodbye to Ben or let him sit, Ben is also plays blind cricket. And so we've got a little task. He's going to show his blind cricket skills, and the person who catches what he throws will receive a set of trekking poles from Helenox. So here we go, Ben is going to throw something out. Are you ready?
All right.
Go, Ben.
Well, there's no cheating here, so I've got no idea who I'm throwing it to. Let's see.
Well done. Thank you, Ben. How inspiring is that? Whew. I think, what have we got now? We've got a DVD, haven't we? We've got the Jet. Okay, a little bit of, just a little bit behind the scenes so you can show what the work that the foundation does.
Please don't cry. You know I'm leaving here tonight. Before I go, I want you to know there will always be a line. And if the moon had to run away and all the stars didn't want to play, don't waste the sun on a rainy day. The wind will soon blow it all away, yeah. So many times I'd planned to be much more than who I am. And if I let you down, I will follow you round. please don't cry. Although I leave you here this night, where I go, how far, I don't know. I will always be your light. And if the moon had to run away and all the stars didn't want to play, don't waste the sun or a rainy day. The wind will soon blow it all away. Yeah, oh yeah. When the days all seem the same, don't feel the cold or wind or rain. Everything will be okay. We will meet again one day. I will shine on for everyone. Shine on for everyone. When the stars all look the same, don't feel the cold or wind or rain. Everything will be okay. We will meet again one day. I will shine on for everyone. Shine on for
So you guys are going to have an amazing time, and when it does get tough, and it will, and everybody will have a bad hair moment at a different time, so just expect that. When you least expect it, you might have your little tanty light, as we call them, and just know that there's a whole bunch tougher stuff going on out there, and you really can do it. You really, really can do this 50 or 100 Ks. And I'm going to now introduce you to a very inspiring young woman who is the director of Sydney Coastrek and of Wild Women on Top. She is an amazing organised woman, also extremely fit, and her name is Lisa Marshall, and Lisa is going to share with you all the secrets.
Good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. This little bit's all about you guys, and I'm going to give you some tips about the best way to prepare for event day and little things you might need to know to make it a good day for all of you. We've given you a handout. We'll also make sure that all these notes and the presentation are available online for any of your teammates who couldn't be here tonight. And we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So if I can ask you just to note down your questions and we'll deal with those after the presentation, that would be great. So we love the fact that we are associated with the Fred Hollows Foundation, and so we like to deal in Fs. And first of all, it's all about your safety. You'll notice on the Coastrek website we've got a section just all about safety and the little things that you can do to keep you and your team safe along the way. Obviously your fitness should have improved by now if you've been doing the training. We hope you've had fun doing that. And a little later on we'll have Christina from the St. John's Ambulance talking to you about hydration and eating and how you can manage your fluid intake and your food intake along the way. So don't try anything new on the day. Don't buy the new pair of shoes and try the latest energy drink that you've never had before, because usually you meet with some results that you're not very happy with. So eat and drink what you've practiced on during your training, and that's one of the most important things for you to kind of think about in these last few weeks, is what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, what you're going to wear, and how your support crew is going to be able to be there for you on the day. So, Friday the 1st of March, many of you will be arriving before sunset. It's a beautiful location at Palm Beach. However, there will be over 1,000 people arriving between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. to register for the event. So we ask that you make sure you leave plenty of time to get there. There will be a one-way system operating through and around the Palm Beach headland to enable the traffic to flow around, and there will be a drop-off area too. So if you have a support crew that are going to drop you off, they'll be able to drive in and around and drop you near the registration area. If you're going to leave a vehicle there, you do need to check out the parking in that area and make sure that you have a ticket if you're going to park at Palm Beach for the day. You'll need to come to registration with a risk waiver signed by all 4 of your team members. If there's last minute changes to your team because somebody's ill or they can't make it, you need to make sure that you go to the team change desk before you go to register. So we need to make sure that we know exactly who's out on the trail on that day. So if you bring Granny with to be your 4th walker at the last minute, we do need you to register her at the team change desk before you go to get your race pack. Once you've been cited by a marshal at registration and they've seen that there's 4 of you and you've all signed the risk waiver, only one of you need then go and collect the race bibs and the maps from the rego desk, and the rest of the team can then go and grab coffees and do toileting and get ready for the event. So as long as you're all together and you present yourself as a team with your risk waiver, only one of you then need to proceed to the registration desk. It'll just help to cut down on the number of people in the queues and keep everyone moving through quickly. So you need to be there an hour before your start wave, and you'll all know your start wave. You can look that up on your team management page. You'll also be given a bib number at the end of next week. You'll receive an email telling you what your bib number is. That's your team number 2, and your start wave will be linked to that. So just in terms of the 2 busiest spots along the route, Palm Beach and Balmoral, there will be a lot of traffic. Balmoral is not only the finish of the 50k day, but it's also the start of the 50k night event. So at the period from about 4 o'clock onwards on the Friday afternoon will be extremely busy. So if you have support crew that are coming to meet you, you may want to just advise them to look for alternate parking or to meet you somewhere just outside of the Balmoral Beach area. That's the drop and go. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but we will have it up on the website. There'll be a one-way system. You'll come in there and the traffic will flow around. That will be parking, and then this will be the drop-off area here. The event rego is up on the grass just near the Surf Lifesaving Club, and the actual start is down on the beach. So once you've registered, 15 minutes before your start wave's due to go, we ask you to head down to the beach and wait at the start arch. Safety first. The route is not marked, so most of you will have been practicing with your maps and your trail notes. There will be some markings along the way where we think it might be a bit tricky, or in the dark where we think you might miss a turning, or there might be a checkpoint nearby. The checkpoints will be marked, a big core flute sign saying Coastrek checkpoint, and I'll show you the little control units in a little while. But make sure that when you're training, you practice and you know where the checkpoints are. It's a good idea to allocate someone in your team to be responsible for being aware of where you are on the route so that you don't miss a checkpoint. If you miss a checkpoint, you do need to go back and punch into the checkpoint. So you do need to clock in at every single checkpoint along the route, including the manned checkpoints and the finish line. There's a couple of spots in the first 50k where we have some lagoons. You will have read that the ruling is please do not cross if the water is above knee level, and there will be marshals there if the tide is high or the lagoon is broken through. We will be asking you to take an alternate route around the back of those 2 lagoons, and there will be signage and a marshal there to let you know that on the day. If there's no issues, you just walk straight along the beach as per the maps. The maps do show you the detailed alternate route at the bottom of the map in a dotted box. The only other section you need to be aware of that's changed since some of you did Coastrek last year or in previous years There's a short section just before North Bondi at the golf course. We used to walk along the golf course, however we decided that probably wasn't a good idea, especially if it was during the day. So we're now going to have you cross over the road because the actual pavement ends on the left-hand side where you've been walking. There's a big bus stop and you do need to cross the road very carefully, continue down until you reach North Bondi and you can get back onto the coastal walkway. So have a look at that. We have updated the maps. So if you haven't got the maps in the last few weeks, download the most recent maps onto your phones if you're using them on your iPhones. And you will also be given a copy of the map book on the day. The training guide covers lots of important things, but one that's kind of in the forefront of our minds at the moment because of the weather we've been having is the heat. And many of you may have been practicing on those extremely hot days and learning about what the heat does to you in terms of blisters, hydration management, food, not feeling well, or suffering from some of the effects of heat stress. So Christina from St. John's is going to cover some of that off. However, we have added to the training guide and put some more tips and information on the website for you under the hot section and in the safety section as well. So have a read of those. But the most important thing to know is that on the day, if it's extremely hot, all registered trekkers will receive an SMS from us if we decide that we're going to put in place a heat alert. And it's nothing to be afraid of. All it will be is some information to you guys about what we're going to do if there's extreme heat, how to manage it, what precautions to take, and whether or not the route or the event will be altered. But hopefully we're going to have a lovely, gorgeous day, and not the rain we had last year, but we'll, the weather is what it is. And you guys have probably been training in all sorts of weather, so you'll know that on the day you need to be prepared for the heat and the rain. So your support crew need to have everything that you might need for all of those instances. But ice is a really great thing to have on hand, and we will also have ice if the heat goes over 30 degrees, and we issue a heat alert. There'll be ice at all the manned checkpoints for you too. Emergency procedures, of course, if it's a real emergency, someone in your team is in trouble, you call 000. You also need to let headquarters know. All the phone numbers that you guys need to know will be on your race bibs on the day. You need to phone headquarters and let them know if there's been an incident or if someone in your team is unwell and if they're withdrawing, and also let them know if you've let emergency services know. If you haven't, they're going to tell you to hang up and phone emergency services first. So please call 000 first if you think it is an emergency. Otherwise, we have a number for St. John's if you need to just get some first aid advice, and we will have St. John's at all the manned checkpoints along the way. So that is Palm Beach, Long Reef, Balmoral, Rose Bay, and Coogee. So every 25 k's, St. John's will be there. There's 22 checkpoints on the whole 100k, so if you're a 100k team, you're going to have to clock that little checkpoint timing stick in 22 times. And if you're a 50k team, you've got 11 checkpoints if you're doing the first 50k, and 11 if you're doing the party all night 50k. I'll just give you a little demonstration here of what you're going to get given on the day so that you're familiar with it. This is a little checkpoint control that you're going to find at all the unmanned checkpoints and the manned checkpoints. So all 22 checkpoints will have a little blue checkpoint control with a big sign next to it saying Sydney Coastrek, and it will tell you the number of the checkpoint. You're going to either receive a timing stick or a timing card. And what you need to do is put the stick into the little hole until it beeps and it flashes a red light. And if you've got the card, you just hold it over the top and it does the same thing. So I'll do a little demo. Okay. That's if you've got the card. Sorry, the stick, and this is the card. Everyone happy? If it's not working, or it's gone missing, so because some kids have decided they're going to take it home, please call headquarters and let us know. Take a photograph on your phone of the checkpoint that you're at, so when you get to the finish line we have proof that you're at that checkpoint, and we can also send someone out to replace the missing checkpoint. Okay. important rules for you guys to adhere to. The most important thing for us is that we want to know how you guys are doing along the trail, and we also need to know, of course, if someone in your team is withdrawing or if your whole team has decided to withdraw from the event. Please don't phone your support crew, head home and go to sleep, because we will phone you at midnight and say, where are you? It has been done, and we really need to know where you guys are at all times. So please phone headquarters if at any stage anyone in your team is withdrawing from the event. If unfortunately your whole team is withdrawing, you do need to take your timing device to one of the manned checkpoints that are open at that time and hand it back in to us, please. Yes, if you forget to give us the timing stick and you take it home as a reminder of the event, because you want a little memento, we will need to ask you for $100 to replace them, because that's how much they cost. So please don't take them home with you. Make sure you hand them in at one of the manned checkpoints. Each team must start and finish with the same 4 trekkers, okay? And if you want to be eligible for a placing in the category in the top 10, for example, you do need to finish with 4 trekkers. Okay? If you finish with less than 4, you still get a finish time and a certificate, but you can't be eligible for one of the category placings for prizes. If your team has some withdrawals and you're reduced to, say, 2 walkers, 1 walker, or 3 walkers, please follow the guidelines. We need there to be at least 3 of you at night, and if there's only 2 of you, please join up with another team and walk with them for safety reasons. During the day, you can walk as a 2, but as soon as it heads into the night, we advise that you join another team or get your support crew to meet you along the way. However, they can't transport you anywhere. And if your support crew do decide to walk a section of the route with you, they aren't actually covered. We don't know anything about them and they're not considered to be a participant. So please don't encourage them to do that unless they know they're doing it of their own accord and are happy to walk a section with you. That's just an overlay outline of the route from Palm Beach to Coogee with all the beautiful scenic locations in between. And you guys will see that we've put the checkpoints out on the most scenic bits that we could find along the route. There's also a second reason why, and that's because they're the easiest bits that you could decide to leave off if you didn't want to do that headland. So that's how they are. There's no sort of exact measurement of kilometers between each one, so that's why you need to nominate someone in your team to be the checkpoint queen, and they need to be aware of where they are on the route and make sure you don't miss any of those checkpoints. We do have cut-off times at the checkpoints, so if for any reason your team hasn't reached one of the manned checkpoints half an hour before cut-off, we will give you a call and say, hey guys, we just want to know where you are. Are you close? Are you nearly here? Because the checkpoint's actually going to be dismantled, the volunteers are going home, and the checkpoint, actual control checkpoint, has to be taken away. So if that happens, if you guys are still too far away from that checkpoint, we will ask you to withdraw from the event for safety reasons, because we can't man those checkpoints for the whole 36 hours. We've got volunteers sitting through the night, and we also reckon that if you guys have done the training, you should be able to get to those checkpoints in those time cut-offs. Very important, we have a leave no trace policy at Wild Women on Top and at Sydney Coastrek. What that means is whatever you bring with you, you need to take away with you, and leave only your footprints. We have such a beautiful coastline, and in actual fact, a couple of days after your event, I think, is Clean Up Australia Day. But don't let that prompt you to think you need to leave some litter for them to find on the Sunday, because we actually have to send sweepers out after the event, because if there's any litter left along the route, then it does become an issue for us in future years when we want to apply for our council permissions to run the event. So please bear that in mind. If you've got little goo wrappers and electrolyte wrappers and tissues seem to often fall out of your packs, but just bear in mind you can dump your litter when you get to the manned checkpoints, and we will have recycling bins there, so please use them. Toilets along the route, again, there's not going to be a toilet at every kilometre, but the best advice I can give you is try and do it as a team, otherwise you add an extremely long time to your overall finish time if you have to keep stopping for every member to go to the loo. So try and decide where you're going to aim for, and see if you can get there. It can be one of your goals to get to the next loo without stopping. If you are using walking poles, it is a requirement of national parks that you put rubber stoppers on the bottom of your poles. It does prevent damage. If you're using the sharp sort of pointy end, it can cause damage to the trails and the plants around it. So if you are using walking poles, you can grab a set of those little rubber stoppers for about $10 from the trekking shops. Your support team. I would say that if you haven't got a support team yet, that's your most important thing to go away and do after tonight. They really can make or break your experience on an endurance event. I've done many, and I've had many support crews, and I've also been in a support crew, and it's quite hard work. So many support crew people end up doing the event the following year because it's a lot more fun than being in a support crew, where you get shouted at and you're really grumpy in the middle of the night. So you have to try and be nice to them no matter how bad you're feeling. But do give your support crew lots of information, give them a set of maps, and you know, check in on your Facebook page as you're going along so they can track you along the way. Give them lots of yummy treats and take them out for dinner afterwards, and you never know, they might do it again. Lastly, to avoid queues at registration or any delay in registering, because we have half an hour to 45 minutes to register every wave in the morning at registration. If you bring with your signed risk waiver and you've got all 4 team members there, your registration should be fairly simple and we'll be able to move everyone through quickly. As I've said, your bib number will be sent to you in the next week, and you need to be responsible for having the right gear for the rain and the cold and the dark. So make sure you've got a head torch, because when you get to Palm Beach at 6 AM, it's actually still dark. Very important in running an event like this are the volunteers who give up their time, and I know I can see many faces amongst you of people who have volunteered over the years, and you're now getting your turn to do the event, so well done. But we actually have a party of 200 volunteers that we need to make this event happen and to support you guys along the route, to man the checkpoints, log the results, man the headquarters, take the phone calls, drive all the supplies out to the different locations, and put up all the infrastructure. We still need some volunteers. Surprise, surprise, it's for the night shifts at Rose Bay and Coogee. So if you guys are doing a night event and you've got friends that know about it, ask them to support you, please, and to go to the Coastrek website and to register their interest in being part of the volley team. It's great fun. We've got a great goodie bag to give all the volunteers, and they can shout and cheer for you as you come through the man checkpoint. We've got great prizes lined up for the top fundraisers and the winning teams, so you can read more about that in the Coastrek news and on our website. But thank you to all of our sponsors who've given up some awesome prizes, including a World Expeditions trip for 4, which you'll find more about in the next few weeks. These are some of our product sponsors, and you guys are going to be given some great giveaways on the day. There's also some special offers which you can read about on our website, and discounts that you can take advantage of for some of the products, the goo products, and some of the gear that you might need to get for the day. So that's it from me in terms of all the logistics. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. As I say, this presentation will be available online on the website next week. And we'll open up now for some questions. If you have a question, just put your hand up and we'll come to you with a microphone so we can share with the rest of the room. But thank you for your attention tonight. Apologies for that. We're actually going to hear from Christina from St. John's just to give you a short briefing on your safety and first aid. And then we'll do the questions. I've never talked for a short time in my life. Okay, quick before we start. This coloured stuff, this is fluoro. This is high vis and it will reflect light. So if you're out at night, fluoro is really cool and available at Bunnings.
fizz will save your life. Okay? So just, you might want to be aware of those two. Okay? So this will shine, like you would believe, and this will just add to your complexion. I promise not to talk for too long. About 4 years ago, an interesting lady rang me and said she wanted to take these people on a 100k walk. Could I help? I said, yeah, I think. We started out with my husband and I and an ambulance at Palm Beach and hoped. Okay? We followed them along and we stopped at the beachfronts and we got out our deck chairs and we waved and we gave them, you know, sunscreen and stuff. Every now and then we did a blister. And it was fun. The next year, apparently, like 5 times as many people were going to do it. And I sat down this afternoon and went through some things, and these amazing women have put together a program that is just unbelievable. There is more first aid information, more safety information, better maps of Sydney than I have ever seen. And that is due to the amazing work of these women. Now, they're going to tell you how wonderful you are, but I still live in awe and wonder of them. Apparently, someone has climbed a small mountain. We will have manned and womened posts at Palm Beach, Long Reef, Balmoral, Rose Bay, and at the finish line. So this has gone from just my husband and I to a massive infrastructure. We'll literally have infrastructure at all of those points. I am what we would call the commander of that duty. So everything that happens will end up going through me. So if you have issues with anything or anything else like that, feed it back to these lovely ladies and they'll feed it back to me and we'll rewrite whatever it is we need to do, okay? Some of which I've done for this year already. What we will have in place is any first aid things that you would need. If you're asthmatic, if you're diabetic, all those things, with a couple of exceptions. Under St John's regulations, we cannot hand out ibuprofen, otherwise known as, Nurofen. Okay, they are changing that, but there are too many people allergic to Nurofen. Okay, so we will do Panadol and all those things. We carry a multitude of drugs, but Nurofen seems to be one we're not. Okay, and that hopefully over time will change. A couple of things we learnt last year as it got hotter in the middle of the day and then colder. People stripping off layers was great, but we had bags rubbing on shoulders. So just be aware of that. If you're down to just the singlet top and you haven't had that with your bag before, then you got sunburnt sometime during the morning and in the afternoon you put a layer on top of that. And we had some serious chafing, etc. on top of sunburn.
Vaseline or pawpaw cream.
Yeah.
If you hadn't thought about it before.
Yeah, but getting sunburnt at any point will be a problem later on. Okay, that's the first thing we got through last year. In terms of your feet, read the booklet. These guys have absolutely everything there is to do about feet. Okay, the only thing I've learnt, the dry socks seem to be our friend. Go with dry socks. There are things that we work with and that we ask you in your sections to carry. There is types of sport tape, etc. that will stretch with you. And again, our guys can help with that. There are things that you need to have in your first aid. Okay, a basic blankie, okay, reflects your body's heat. We ask you to make sure you have a triangle bandage each, which means you have 4 altogether. Technically, if you've got the right training and 2 long sticks, you could maybe stretch you out of that if you had to. Okay? You might want to be a Boy Scout. Paracetamol, dead easy. The cheaper the better because it comes in big packs, it's easy to carry. The last thing it suggested on your list was conforming bandages. Just a quick tip on that. These are really fun and will hold things together, but they will not keep muscle together necessarily. They're a crepe bandage. So if you want to hold a dressing on, they're fine. What you need is a heavy crepe bandage, which is normally a darker colour. And when you pull it, it will give a bit of an elastic pull, and it'll help you when you're wrapping things. So if you know you've got an injury beforehand, your physio helps you or whatever else, grab some of these, okay? And they're your friend. Never, ever, ever use the metal bit, okay? Keep them in a little container somewhere. Don't ever use them. Use tape. Number 1, it will work, and number 2, it's unlikely to, you know, embed itself in your skin. When it comes to your torch, these are just the things I've learned. Everything that I need to keep dry, I just keep in one of these. So if you have a small one of these, that you keep the things that can get wet. So the lights, extra batteries for your light, okay, little things like that. Just grab one of these. Yep, Ziploc bags are great. I just find that I can put my hand on that quick. Okay, I do have Ziploc bags in my little baggage tricks too. When we will have Vaseline, etc., we have it in small single-use things. Okay, small single-use little items. Not like the needles we stick in you to drain your blisters. Just thought I'd mention. When it comes to heat and cold, again, the layers are very, very important, and you've all trained in heat and in cold. Okay? Your snap lock bags are really good if it's going to be hot, to put some ice in, okay? And then to put in your pockets, or if you're like me, put straight down your bra. Makes a lot more sense. Okay? They stay there, they're easy to deal with, you don't have to worry too much. Okay? And because they are the places we want to cool. We want to cool your neck, your armpits and your groin. Put them in your pockets, okay? And put them down your bra. Dead easy. Sorry about that, folks. If we are not it's going to be hot, an instant cold back is really cool and really fun to, flick and open up. Won't last you more than about 10 minutes, if that. So don't focus too much on those as use something that will cool. It will cool quick, but it won't last. So just be aware of that. I think that's the end of my little bag of tricks. Oh yeah, Compede, who one of the sponsors and who have these things, if you haven't used them before, they are phenomenal. Okay, they're part of a blister system whereby they cover up. They're like skin covers, and they help to spread out any heat. Okay, so if you've got a hot spot to start with, okay, they're like a second skin cover. They're very simple, very easy to use when you've got two hands. They stretch, they stick down. Okay, they just look like a second skin, and they will go over lots of different things. They come in many shapes and sizes. Okay, very, very good work. Okay, they work really, really well. I have two on my toes right now. Okay, in terms of your hydration, current thinking and everything that I've read is saying 1 is to 10 in terms of your sports drinks, your endurance drinks, all those things. Okay, so for every one of those you drink, so if you have a Gastrolite or whatever they're called, okay, there's millions of brands out there, you should be drinking 10 litres of water. Now, when it gets hot, you want to move that up a bit. Okay, so you might be moving it up to 6. So if your Camelback carries what, 5 litres usually? 2 to 3. Okay, so for every couple of those, you're going to want to have, okay, any of your sports drinks, endurance drinks, whatever you have. Don't try anything you haven't tried in training. It is, but I haven't finished. That's right. Don't try anything you haven't tried in training, and use them according to direction. So if it says to drink it, put the powder into 50 ml of water, do that. Okay? They have your trace elements and they have a couple of other things. The other thing you need to be doing is eating along the way. It's not all going to work in fluids. Part of the problem with too much water and not anything else is hypotermia, okay, which is not enough salt, magnesium, potassium, a whole bunch of other things that will go into your body. So you're all nibbling along the way most of the time, aren't you? Yeah? Okay? That helps with all those other things. You are the best at knowing what your body needs. Okay? You're the best at knowing that because you've been doing the training. Okay? So, if you know that you're not feeling so well, the best thing you can do is keep communicating that to other people. So if your mouth is feeling dry or anything like that, you need to keep aware of that and to be passing on that information. The best tool that you have is your mind. Now, if you notice that someone's gone quiet, they're not playing the game that you're talking about, or they're not doing something like that, you need to keep checking on their hydration levels. Okay? The hotter it is, again, the higher you need to add those endurance drinks, etc., to your water. Okay, so you might be having them a little bit more often than every second Camelback. The number on your bib, if you're in trouble. Okay? Rule of thumb is this: if you are at home and the same thing happens, would you call an ambulance? Okay? So if you fell, if you hurt your leg, if it hurt this much, and I was at home, would I call an ambulance? Yes, I would. Then call an ambulance. Your maps are excellent. Delegate your jobs. You, please look after this person. I will call an ambulance. Okay? You will wait for the next team to come along and get them to help us. Delegate your jobs as you go. Calling an ambulance does not mean you'll end up in a hospital. Okay? It means they'll turn up, they'll help. If you don't need to be transported, they're not going to transport you. Okay? They're going to help, they're going to do whatever they can. By then, your support team might be there and you'll go home. Okay? You ring headquarters and you make sure you withdraw properly though. Okay? Otherwise someone will get in trouble. The mobile number on your bib will be mine, will be in my hand. Okay? So if you've got a bit of advice you want, look, so-and-so's, had a tiny bit of a fall, starting to cramp here and this and that, any ideas what we can do? We'll run through a set of protocols for you and all that advice, and then we'll go, okay, your best bet is to stop now and get your support team to help. Or your best bet is to call an ambulance, or look, give it the next 5K, see how you feel and call me back. Any time at all that you're going to need advice like that, just give me a call. Okay? I might palm you off to one of our registered nurses. Okay? I might say, look, give me 5 minutes, I'll get a doctor to call you back. We have all those people in our organisation. Okay? And for this duty, I have 2 registered nurses and a doctor on call, ready to go. Okay? So I ring them, I say, you need a consult, ring this number, please. Doctor will call you back. Okay. If you are having cramps or if you are particularly susceptible with a particular part, know how to stretch that muscle. And if you want some advice later, I'll help with that. Know how to stretch that muscle and how to work out how bad it is. Okay, so if it's a particular thing, okay, know that limitation beforehand. Again, talking, your mental checks are the best check of how your hydration is going. Okay, when in doubt, just ask. Look, you think I seem okay, I need a drink, yada, yada, yada. See how you're feeling. If you're really desperate, stop. Sit down. Have a think about it. Okay, because they will do this next year, so don't tell me. So, as much as your getting there is important, it's not worth your health. Because they'll run it again next year. Okay, did I forget anything?
That's fabulous. I've covered it.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And we're going to now move into an FAQ section. So all those questions you'll be busting to ask, please have a little think about them. We will hand the microphones around and say them loudly and clearly, and hopefully everybody's got the same question on their lips. There's no such thing as a silly question, so just ask it because that's really important as an important moment.
And what if you can't get a replacement and you turn up with 3?
You do need to start with 4 people, so you need to find a friend or a volunteer or a support crew to just start with you, and then they can withdraw anywhere along the route.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify with the closing time for checkpoints over a 50k day. It says 18 hours after, so 9 hours for the 25k, 18 hours from start time. Is that a 6 a.m. start time? Or is that your start time?
No, whichever your start time is.
Okay, cool.
Yep, so it's 18 hours from when you start.
When you cross the line.
Because we've got 4 waves of 50k day, people are going half an hour apart.
Perfect, thanks.
Hi, we're doing a night event. We're just wondering about the fluoro vest. Do you have to wear a full fluoro vest, or can you just go slip around your arm? Because the vest is going to be a bit annoying with the pack.
They don't
You're
look,
running as well.
yeah, they don't look great, but it is a council regulation that you wear the fluoro reflective vests, especially for night. You need to wear them when you're crossing roads and when you're near any sort of areas where there's traffic, and you should be wearing it at night. Obviously, it's your choice what you decide to do with the vest. Some people wrap them around themselves or have the reflective strips that some runners use, but the councils have required, it is a requirement and it is part of us being able to run the event.
Where's the best place to get the reflective strips?
You can, From some of the running shops, the trekking shops, some of them have them online. I've heard some people have bought some online.
Thank you.
Kathmandu on sale.
Hi, so one day we were walking in quite extreme heat, and it was, the day was forecast to be extreme heat, and the National Parks and Wildlife had actually closed off some of the headlands. What happens in those circumstances?
If there's any part of the route that's affected, as you've suggested, it could be National Parks closing a certain section of the trail. Every registered trekker will receive an alert via SMS, which will tell you that there's a route change, and then there will be an alternate route for you. So you'll notice with Coastrek, we obviously want you to be on the coast. However, we are often near places where we can deviate from the route and create an alternate route if we need to. So if that's the case, you'll be notified by the marshals along the route via SMS, and there'll also be some signage along the way to let you know this is an alternate route.
Hi, I just want to ask about Long Reef and DY, because at the lagoon it says you've got to sort of go around, but then DY is compulsory beach walking beach, so we don't quite understand.
It's compulsory if the lagoon is low and you can still cross the water, but if the water comes above knee level, you will be required to go on the alternate route and follow the instructions on the map book, which take you around the back of the lagoon.
Okay, so is that, yeah, it's a bit hard because it's direct, it goes directly across this, when you go down to the car park.
Can you do the alternate one?
Okay, so you have to cross the lagoon into the sand dunes, do you? Because the lagoon is usually not closed off. You can walk around it, but rather than cross it. It's just not clear on the map and the instructions because, yeah, you can actually easily get across. I mean, you don't have to, but if you have to walk.
On the day, I'll tell you how you'll know, is on the day, if we've decided that it's not safe to cross and we want you to do the alternate route, there will be a marshal and there will be signage, so everybody will be doing the alternate route. So it's not a choice of either or on the day. We will tell you, and we have team leaders there at Long Reef that will make the decision on the day. We know what the tides are like, and they'll say to you, you're either going on your big beach walk or you're going this way on the alternate route, and every team will have to do that same route.
Okay, can I just ask one quick question? Are there going to be any toilets open between Manly and Balmoral in the evening?
Manly and Balmoral in the evening, Danae?
Because it wasn't on the website.
Sky?
Like I noticed, once you cross the Spit Bridge, they are meant to stay open, so that'll cover you up until Balmoral. I can't speak for them.
Yeah, so you've got Chinaman's, Rocheville Reserve,
And where they are located.
and Clontarf. We'll clarify that for you and get back to you on that. In the inside of the map book, we have the map book that you get on the day. We have specified where we have requested for extra toilets to be opened. However, we do rely on other people to make sure that happens, and we also have to hire security guards for every single toilet that we have open in certain areas. So we do ask you to try and make use of the toilets that are open, and we have tried to cater for the night walking, but it is extremely difficult to have toilets every few kilometres, so plan it if you can.
You mentioned in the event of one of your little clicking registering machines having been stolen or become inoperative that we have to take a photo. Does the entire team have to be included in the photo?
No, just take a photo of the sign that says checkpoint 2, whichever one it is. It's just to prove you were there. Only one of you need have it.
Big display.
You don't need to be in the picture, you just need to take a photo, as long as you don't, send it to the world. And also, if that person in your team who's taken the photo decides to withdraw, you're going to have to get them to give you the photo. It's just so when you get to the finish line, when you plug in your timing stick at the end, it brings up on the computer all the times that you were at every single checkpoint, and it'll be blank for that one, and they'll have to just manually override it to say yes, you were there, because they can see you've got the photo of the checkpoint.
How are you going to police that with people emailing photos to other phones?
We'll only know if there's a problem with that checkpoint. So if it's not there, then we'll go out and replace it. But obviously, we're hoping that that's not going to happen. We didn't have any checkpoints go missing last year on the whole 100K. So if it's not working, then we'll know that you've taken a photo, that you were there, and you should have the rest of the 22 checkpoints, or the 11 if you're doing the 50K.
If you're doing the daytime trek, starting at 8 a.m., you still need the fluoro vest and the head torch, and you expect to do it in less than 12 hours?
Yes, you do, because the sun will go down about 5:30, and we had a lot of people doing the 50K day who were doing that last section from Dobroyd and Clontarf around to Balmoral in the dark. So you need a head torch, because you could end up walking in the dark, and you never know what will happen along the way. You could be delayed. We say you should have a head torch because when you arrive in the morning, early in the morning, you also sometimes require lights at registration. It's extremely dark at Palm Beach too. You don't have to carry it, you can leave it with your support crew and pick it up along the way, as long as you remember to do that before the sun goes down.
One more question about curl is not a compulsory beach walk, and it says that you have to sort of follow the line or keep your eye on, be able to see the ocean or something, but there's a walk behind the dunes, and I don't know if you're allowed to do that or not.
I'll let Di answer that one because she knows that area well.
It's the one we argued about a lot in the office.
Yes.
The principle of Coastrek is that you remain visually connected with the beach and with the coast and with the soft surfaces of the coast. And it's been the most incredibly difficult thing to make sure that it's not a grey area, that it's very black and white. And we have struggled and debated and argued endlessly for 4 years about what the route should be. So what we've come up with in the end is if you can remain visually connected with the ocean and coastal surfaces, you're fine. This detail only concerns people who want to be in the running for a prize and be a winner of some sort that gets an award at the end. So if you're just happy to do Coastrek in the spirit of participation and can I or can't I do 50 kilometres, we don't actually really mind that level of detail. If you say I've got a bungee and I'm going to walk on the footpath, the 5Ks in the middle, that's absolutely up to you. But if you want to be considered a winner, then we would need you to follow the letter of the map which says follow the purple red line as marked on the map and do the compulsory beaches as listed on the map. If there's a choice of soft sand or a sand dune and you remain visually connected with the ocean and the surfaces of sand, then you're pretty much okay.
Can't see the sea. You can't see the sea.
If you can't see the sea but you're still coastal, if it's a grey area and you can't see the sea but it's coastal and it's sand, we would be happy for you to walk there. Yeah.
Most of the checkpoints where we want you to be on the sand, where we said it's a compulsory area, the checkpoints are actually on the route that will naturally lead you down to a beach at the bottom of the stairs that go down to a beach. So if you choose not to go down to the beach, you could miss a checkpoint. So use the checkpoints as your guide and try and stick with what's on the map.
And if you want that further clarified, just at the very end come up and we'll go through the maps with you and talk through the map. Yeah.
Can I just make the point that walking on dunes is not great for the dunes? So
no, not if there's not a path there. So if there's a proper trail there, you can follow the trail. But yes, we wouldn't be encouraging you to go across the dunes. Some questions?
You've got a discussion about the SMS. I assume you have all of our phone numbers. I don't know. I'm not the team captain, but you'll send a text to everybody even though we've got them all turned off. Because there'll be one off. You have 4 people, you won't have 4 phones on. So
we've
got
said
everybody's number, I assume.
If you're a registered Coastrek participant and you don't turn up with a stranger on the day that hasn't registered with us, we will have your phone number, and part of the compulsory requirements are for you to carry 2 mobile phones on 2 different networks, and I would advise that you have them on, because if we have to send you an alert regarding the route or the weather, you will be sent it to all 4 of those registered participants.
We'll take 2 more and then we'll wrap up for those who want to go.
Just for the night walk, when you start at Balmoral, it says wave 6. Do we all start together? That would be seem somewhat difficult.
Yes, there's one wave for the night event. However, on the evening, we are going to split you 15 minutes apart. But you'll know a bit more about that in the next week when we generate the bid numbers. And the first few 100 people will start at 6 o'clock, and the next few 100 will start at 6:15. But we still want you to come an hour earlier to register at 5 o'clock. And we've arranged for a lovely band to keep you company along the oval from Balmoral till you get to the metal staircase. And that's where we envisage there could be a bit of a queue to get up the stairs, and we'll just ask that people keep to the left, and if there's fast teams that want to pass, they can go up the right-hand side.
Any advice for thunderstorms?
Thunderstorms?
One the other day.
Yeah. Well, lightning obviously is the most dangerous thing. If it's rain, you're pretty fine to keep going. If there are any weather alerts, we'll let you know. We check the BOM website and the lead up to the event. If there's lightning, we have certain instructions which you can read in the training guide about taking shelter, moving away from metal objects, get rid of your trekking poles. But yeah, we have some guidelines in the training manual, and lightning is probably the most dangerous thing. The other thing is high winds, but again, we'll be watching out for those things, and we'll be sending you any special alerts that you need to know about regarding that.
In training, if you are training in an electrical storm, which some of us do maybe, there is it 15 seconds? If there's less than 15 seconds between the lightning and the thunder, stop. Seek shelter and wait until that passes. Normally those storms pass quite quickly. You might just have a cappuccino break for half an hour and then start again. But don't continue walking if you can see the lightning right nearby. It's just not wise, and we won't be alerting you in training, of course. So we might wrap that up. Thank you very much for your great questions and for joining us this evening. If anybody has got specific other details they want clarified, the team are around, and we look forward to seeing you for a fabulous event in 3 weeks' time.